Welcome to Off the Wall with Dr. Craig. This podcast is all about situations that occur in the areas of education, nutrition, and politics. It's a common sense approach that analyzes the crazy things that happen in our world. Dr. Craig also has you covered with specific information on education, careers, and business. So buckle up and join the conversation, because Dr. Craig is the high priest of the painful truth.
Well, we are live, doing a few things differently. If you see the background, we created a new studio. I'm trying to get it together, which will probably be done by, next week. Back on StreamYard, they've added a lot of different amenities that they have on here. It's great, looking better. What I'm going to also do is have a schedule. So Mondays, about this time, I'll be talking about school systems, teaching, other items, and we'll be doing live stream. So you'll get an announcement of what's going to be on that particular day. Also, on Tuesdays, we're going to do careers. The one tomorrow is going to be about nursing. I have my wife on. She's a retired nurse. We're going to talk about nursing. Yes, I'll behave myself, but I don't know if she will, but she'll be on tomorrow. We are also broadcasting on Rumble every Wednesday starting next week on the 27th. So here we go. Why am I talking about this topic about school security? I watched the Brown University debacle, and I thought, well, I need to come back and talk about school safety. Before I do that on high schools, I want to talk about Brown University. I don't think the principal knew what she was talking about. She didn't know anything. She didn't know how many students were in the classroom. There weren't any cameras, and it was a mess. So we're going to talk about things for high school, what you need to do, and what they didn't do up there as far as knowing the students that were in the building, and also about locks and other things like that. So here we go. Okay, my plan for school safety. This is first episode. Second episode, will be next week. So if we go to step one, identify the places where students enter the building. Why is this important? Because I've been in different school districts, and they all have their own little things. Some lock the doors. They only have one entrance and exit. Some have them all open. So you need to take a look at where the students come into the building. Are they coming into the building where they shouldn't be going into the building? And take a note of that. So a couple schools in the Cumming School District, they would come in through the front, and the students would come in. Anybody else that was a visitor would come in through the front. So you need to know, determine a time frame for each entrance. Some schools lock the doors after a certain time period, so you need to check that and make sure you know which ones are closed, which ones are open for a couple hours, so you get a bead on that. Number 3, are there cameras at those entrances? There are a lot of cameras in the opening to the building, the entrance. I've seen cameras at a lot of schools in the entrance, cameras around the building and so forth. I'm not quite sure. I don't think cameras, as a matter of fact, I know cameras don't, have, it's something afterwards when a crime has been committed. Like a student comes in and shoots up the school, God forbid, and the cameras really only tell you where he came in at and where he left. It doesn't prevent anything. So those cameras, everything, are good for coming into the building and also the perimeters. Now, what I think is the most important thing is what they have done on races. I've done races. I'm going to compare races that I've done, and you've probably seen races like, New York Marathon and a couple other marathons, the Boston Marathon. And I'm going to explain to you what they do, all right? They have a little bib, and what they have on the back of the bib is an RFID um, piece of tape, and it's a chip tape that what happens is when they go over the starting line, it registers. So the timer clicks on the chip, gives say chip 141 is John Doe. John Doe is from Dallas, Texas, 32 years old, has all that information on it. So when that person goes across the start line, it registers it. So you can do that same thing at the school system. I'll get back to that in 1 minute. So RFID antenna. That antenna then records everybody that goes over the starting line and comes back over the finish line. So that's an important thing to have to register. Now, location for security location at the school. So initially, you have to decide where to locate this. There's antennas that sometimes they're on the ground, but at a school and everything, you want them up at the top near the ceiling. So it's really easy to hook up. So let's go through a scenario here of students going into the high school. So they come into the high school and they're going to have a tag, either the ID card. Way back when I went to high school, we had ID cards, believe it or not. So if you screwed up, they took your ID card. You couldn't go to the dance. You couldn't go to the athletic events, nothing like that. So that's how they got you. So I recommend having an ID card. I recommend putting the chip tag on your ID card. So what happens there? They have to have it on their person. They go in the door. As soon as they go over a certain barrier from the antennas above, it clicks them in. So boom, boom, they can do 7, 8. Even if you have a horde of students going in, it'll register it. So after, excuse me, after the time that they're supposed to come into the school system, the person, the security person, gets on their laptop and they can see everybody that came into school and they can see what time they entered. So next thing is, and you can have this, is there's applications where you can have on your computer where it can identify people that go out in the hallway. So what's the benefit of that? Well, some teachers send the kids out to go to the bathroom and they don't follow up where they are. If you have a main computer and you have the application as an add-on to this, you can see where they are in the hallway. Call up. Johnny Jones is out in the hallway. He's been out there for an hour, and you notify the teacher and tell them that. So it's has a lot of different assets that you can use. So with that particular system, you have to determine where you want to put it. So the expense is going to be, if you have like 7, 8 entrances for the school, you're going to have 7 or 8 different RFID scanners there that go into your system. So it's not difficult to do, but it costs a little more money. Now, going back to the marathon, you can put scanners out on the 13.1 mile marker, and you can see everybody that goes across that and then comes back for the marathon. When everybody is pretty much in, you can identify who has exited the building to go home, and you can identify who's still in the building, which is very, very important, because where are they? You know, are they in the closet somewhere passed out? Are they hiding someplace? So you can see that on the scanner, and it's a valuable tool. All right, there we go. All right, so the system that we're talking about is the first part. I'll have episode 2 next Monday, but I will also have the notes in there. But the key thing is identify where the students are coming in to the school, what entrance, okay? And then if it's one entrance, you're really lucky, because then you don't have to have all these scanners all over the building. And it costs a little bit of bucks to do that, but you want them to go in one particular place, usually the front of the building. Most schools do it that way. My wife was the registered nurse at a school system that had a system where they didn't have scanners, but what you would do is go into open a door, and you go in a little area there, and you couldn't go through the door. The door was locked. You had to talk to the secretary or someone at the desk to say who you are, why you're there, so forth and so on. They would press the buzzer and they would let you in. Whether they gave them a visitor tag or not, but I like the idea of having a visitor tag. I like the idea in hospitals so you don't have people roaming around that shouldn't be there. So don't forget, next week, we're going to have this on Monday, same time. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, we're going to have talk about careers. Hopefully I'll have everything decorated and my wife and I will put it all together and you won't see a blank wall behind me. So see you tomorrow and then next week.